So I'd like to welcome you to the January 8th Finance Committee meeting. Commissioner Blake is not with us today. So we will start with the report from the county mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon still, I guess. First of all, our credit card report. Fire department, no charges. Assessor was used 4 times. 1 hotel receipt was missing. Sheriff used 7 times, all good. Mayor, no charges. And EMA used 5 times. It was used locally once at the UPS store to make a purchase. Any questions? All right, the other thing I did pass out, not for you to consider today, but please take this and look at it because in February you'll be adopting the new budget calendar. I'm giving it to you a month early because I'm trying to do the one thing that we keep falling short on, and the state requires. Remember, I gave you a report several months ago for the state, sent in the information about all the counties throughout the state. The one thing we always fall short on is we don't have the budget adopted by June the 30th. This year, if we did no changes to the calendar, it would be adopted on July the 1st. So we still wouldn't meet the state requirement. So this calendar changes the last few weeks, just the last few weeks. Up until then, there's no changes. It speeds it up just a little bit. And it would ask you to meet on Friday, June the 28th, and cancel Monday, July the 1st. If Howard Thompson was here, he would say, great, I can sell fireworks all week. So that's the gist of what this calendar does, is you would cancel Monday, July the 1st, the week of the 4th, and you would have a meeting on Friday, June the 28th. You would adopt the budget one day early, one business day early, and we'd meet the state requirement. So when you look at it, if you have questions, fine, and this is something I want you to make sure you put on your agenda for next month, so that's when it needs to be adopted. One other thing I need to pass out is someone in finance a few weeks ago or whenever, I'll pass this around, but anyway, asked for about installing another TV in this room. We waited on one local vendor to come forward. They never did, so we went ahead and got a cost from another one. The people that I think put this system in to add another TV, to upgrade the system, to upgrade the computer, whatever the terminology is for all those things. But anyway, this is what we have for you all to look at, to consider also in the future if you want to pursue that. That's all I have other than what's on the agenda, Madam.
Thank you. So we'll go into our budget amendments. I think the first one is it's number 2 at the top of the right-hand page. And it's from the mayor's department, and it's a decrease in the fund balance for $9,800. And an increase, this was where we paid the $9,800 to clean up the Broomfield property last month or so. So do I have a motion to approve this? Commissioner Alford, is there a second? Commissioner Mason, any discussion? Commissioner Alford?
Do you remember Adam? I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
It was Adam Wagner.
Wagner, yeah, Wagner.
He does a lot of that, or he just out of the blue?
He does a lot of the construction, and we also had 3 bids that turned in on it.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask the next question. Thank you.
Yeah, we got 3 estimates. I don't know if we went through the official bid process, but either way, we did have 3 prices. He was not only the lowest, but he could do it the following week. And that's why it got done before we actually got your amendment done. And she mentioned that we're lowering the fund balance, but it's in the solid waste fund. I get antsy when you say we're lowering the fund balance, but in the solid waste fund we are, because the line for this to be paid from this year had gone to 0. So you're putting money in that line. We've already actually paid the thing. This is the amendment to take care of everything.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The next one is from finance, and they are decreasing account 101, which is the commission, for $3,073.34, and increasing, this is for legal fees, so it's $2,073.34 for the sheriff and $1,000 for EMS, and this was the deductible for sheriff and EMS lawsuits. So do I have a motion to approve these? Commissioner Alford, is there a second? Commissioner Winters, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion passes. And you can see the invoices attached to those. The next one is on page 6, and this is the election commission, and it's a decrease for the election commission for $6. And they're increasing an expense for the election commission for maintenance and repair services. And this was a slight increase in voter central cost for $6. Do I have a motion to accept the Commissioner Winters? Do I have a second? Commissioner Mason, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. The next one is for Bradley County Sheriff's Department, and it is an increase to their revenue, account 101, other contracted services, $325. And it's also an increase to an expense for $325 for 101-54-210 for the Justice Center. And this is for an officer paying for a copy of his psychological and physical due to him wanting to apply and put himself through the police academy. So I have a motion to accept Commissioner Winters, second from Commissioner Alford. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? There is none. The motion passes. And then you see the check. The next one on page 7 is basically the same thing. They're decreasing revenue in 101 other contracted services for $325 and increasing expense in 101-54-210 Justice Center, $325. And it's, again, an officer wanting to pay for their psychological and physical exam, wanting to apply for the police academy. Commissioner Winters, is there a second? Commissioner Alford, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? There is none. And then you see the check attached. Again, the next one is for the Sheriff's Department. And it's basically the same thing as the other two. Increase in revenue for 101-48-140 for $325. And an increase in expense for 101-54-210 Justice Center. And the same, another person paying for their psychological and physical exam. Do I have a motion? Commissioner Winters, is there a second? Commissioner Alford, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Still with the Sheriff's Department, this is a decrease in his reserve, 101-34-520 for $48,000, and an increase in expense for 101-53-920 for courthouse security. And this money will be reimbursed as the county received a grant for courtroom security, and the paperwork is all attached. Do I have a motion to accept this? Commissioner Alford, second for Commissioner Winters. Any discussion? And you can see that it was for proxy readers, panic buttons, x-ray machines, and 2 security cameras. And all the document is attached. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. The next one is the next amendment is on page 14, and it is still Bradley County Sheriff's Department. It's an increase in revenue, account 101-47-250 for law enforcement grants. And this is another grant, and you see the expense, increase in expense for the $15,000. And this is a TCI grant to purchase items for the jail, and the documentation is attached. Do I have a motion to accept? Commissioner Alford, second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Still with the Sheriff's Department, an increase in revenue and account 101-43194.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
before you go too far, the next many pages,
yep.
according
Yep.
to mine, it's 18 through 69 are all services offered.
We'll just do those all at one time.
Right.
18 through what?
69 was, yes, they're all reimbursements for services rendered.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept all of them.
Okay, is there a second? Commissioner Alford? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion or opposition? Thank you. So the next one is on page 70. Give you a second to get there. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're on page 70, this is the Bradley County EMA, and it's a decrease in revenue, 101,44170 miscellaneous refund, and increasing his expense, 101,54410 for $725.17. And this looks to appear to be where someone has provided lunch for EMA. Is that what it is?
And getting reimbursed, but it's an increase in revenue and an increase in expenses.
So he has it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Money
So
coming in to pay for.
So is there a motion to accept Commissioner Winters? Is there a second? Commissioner Mason? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And you can see the invoice and you can see the copy of the check attached. Page 73. This is a increase in expense for Southeast Tennessee Community Corrections, $20,000, and a decrease in expense for going to, this is from evaluation and testing, going to other contracted services. And this is adjustment due to increased drug testing and new hair follicle testing. So is there a motion to accept this? Commissioner Winters, second by Commissioner Alford. Any discussion?
I'm just interested, they're testing hair follicles?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
They're testing adjustment due to increased drug testing and new hair follicle. What is
Yeah.
that what they're looking at?
Yeah. Instead of doing like a urine sample, they test. I think you can get more
It's new, isn't it?
drugs in a hair follicle than you can just in a urine sample. Correct. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. And then the last one is the Recreation Department, and it's a decrease in revenue for account 101, Fund 43194 service charges, and an increase for account 101, Fund 101, account 56900, other social, culture, and recreation, and then going into overtime. And this was overtime amount charged to tournament vendor, and the amount is used to cover the expense, and this is for $907. Is there a motion to accept?
That one's wrong also. It's an increase in revenue. It's money coming in and then an increase in expense.
Because it's going back. Okay, is there a motion to accept this one? Commissioner Mason, is there a second? Commissioner Winters, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? So that takes care of all of those. Next on the agenda is our agenda items. And on the first one is A, the Walker Valley High School vape monitors.
You looking at me? Okay. What I brought to you a few weeks ago and explained to you is that meeting that the schools had, all schools. It was mentioned in that meeting that, I guess I'm using the right terminology, the biggest need they had was to complete the vape detectors at Walker Valley. They have several of them installed as we speak, but there are some restrooms that are lacking. And so we went to work talking to the school people to find out how much more it would be to finish Walker Valley. Now, that's not that, Bradley's not important, but that's a much bigger chunk. What we came up with was the amount of $13,202 to finish Walker Valley. And so I have an amendment if it's something you're interested in doing, but what we would need to do is increase a line in the opioid budget by $12,000 and therefore fund finishing the opioid detectors at Walker Valley. Then my suggestion is if there's interest amongst the commissioners, we would look at it at budget time. It might be something we want to fund with the opioid budget next year, maybe to do or partially do or whatever. They may have plans to do Bradley next year. I don't know. But I'm just saying it was something we could look at doing Bradley next year in next year's opioid budget if you so chose. But we are suggesting, if you agree, to move forward with the amendment that would put the money in the proper line so we could complete what they started at Walker Valley. Did I explain that fairly accurately, those that know what I'm talking about?
Commissioner Alford?
Well, I think, and I don't want to speak for schools, that they would have plans to move forward with Bradley, but you're talking about more money than we have at the present time. That's why I say we possibly, if they don't, we could look at it at budget time, because they haven't done any. They chose to do partially Walker Valley. And we're saying, well, we're suggesting that let's finish Walker Valley, and then, according to what the schools want to do, I'm sure they're going to want to look at Bradley then in the near future. Yeah, as well as the Pie Center. And again, you need to ask the schools, but they may have plans to do that. If they don't, you could offer to do one or both of those. You're going to have to make changes to the opioid budget at budget time anyway.
Commissioner Winters?
Just ask a question. I'm for this. To complete the project. How successful has it been? And do they have any data that they've identified students with vapes? Those are
I don't know. You were at that meeting, I believe, weren't you? I just know that they spoke very highly of it. Basically, they're saying we need to get a handle on vaping in our schools, starting with high school, and I think they chose, for whatever reason, let's start at Walker Valley. But I don't know about any data. That might be the kind of thing you would want to ask before you move to the second and third one, if you so chose. And they might have some by then, but it's supposed to be a big deter of this going on, which is what's getting so many of our kids in trouble with the various subjects things now anyway, is it's starting with vaping, and it's actually starting at the middle schools. So we may eventually want to go to Bradley Pie Center in both middle schools. But all we're saying now is at this point, we've got the money, let's go ahead and finish Walker Valley and see what they come back and recommend then for next year.
Commissioner Alford?
You keep saying they. Are we talking about the school system asking for this, or who's they?
They haven't, no, they didn't ask. In that meeting, they said that something to the effect of completing what they started at Walker Valley would be what, and I don't know who they is, but what they, the meeting was put on by city school people, county school people, ATS The Bridge, and others. And the one thing that they had started to help fight the opioid, to help fight the vaping, which gets them started with the other things, is this program at Walker Valley. And it just became evident to us that, well, we have the money, we could finish that project. Then maybe we'll know if it's something that will be beneficial to move on with. They haven't come and asked for money, no. It's just that they partially did a school. And we're saying we've got opioid money enough left after everything's been budgeted that we could do it.
Commissioner Alford?
What was the price of the whole deal? You remember?
The whole deal being.
I mean, the putting in the vaping at the bathrooms at Walker Valley.
Well, it's 13,000 to finish what they started. I'm not sure. They told how many they've already done. They've done the majority of them. My thing here probably tells how much each one is. Let's see, it's $1,800 a unit, and they need 7 more units to complete Walker Valley. That being that's what the school people have told us. So if we were willing to spend $1,800 a unit, buy 7 more units, then we could complete Walker Valley. How many they've already put in, I'm not sure, but that's what they cost each.
Yeah, they're expensive, but Dr. Belt did say in that meeting that they have seen a reduction of kids vaping at the school campus.
See, unlike smoking, you can go in the bathroom and vape. It's not detected without these detectors.
Are these detectors, you may not know, Mayor, are these things pretty well protected in the bathroom? Because I can see right now a kid going to tear them down.
They didn't mention that they had any problem with the ones that were already there, so I would assume that they are. And of course, these units is also the software that goes with them too, I might mention, why it sounds like they cost so much. They spoke highly of what they've done up there, but it just seemed like they needed to finish that project.
I don't have a problem finishing the project. I just have some concerns about how well it works and so
Well,
forth.
and I agree. I think let's finish this one and get all those questions answered before we do a step 2 or 3 at budget time. And they would be better prepared to answer those. They may say it's not working, we don't want to proceed themselves, or they may say they're working so well, we're going to proceed and they don't need our help. 2 could be an option. I just think if we finish Walker Valley, then we might be able to get some better data before we move forward with a larger, more expensive project. Everything is budgeted now in the opioid budget. Everything was budgeted at budget time except for the money that you gave to those different programs. And now that you voted to do that, that gets all of it done. There's going to be some odd amounts probably not spent at the end of the year, but it's all budgeted. Yes.
So
And if you're okay, now I just did an amendment because what we would need to do is an amendment that what it does is it increases revenue in the opioid fund and puts it in the other contracted service line, which is the line that you're paying ATS, the Bridge, Boys Club, and all those. It would put more money in that line to do this, finish this project at Walker Valley, if you agree.
So are you looking for a motion and a vote for that and then take it to the full commission?
I would hope that you would approve recommending this budget amendment that would become part of the budget amendment packet that would all go to the full commission, yes.
Okay, so we have a first and a second from Commissioner Winters and Commissioner Alford. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes 4-0. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
So, Laura, you add that to your budget packet that goes out then for the full commission to vote on, I guess, next week, next Tuesday. Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, item B, the Public Water Fund. We're going to roll to the February meeting to talk about that in February. Other business? Is there any other business to discuss today? Commissioner.
It's just for you to look at and consider because it's complicated, but I haven't passed it out yet, but I'll give it to you.
I think it's going to go over there somewhere.
You look at it
Most
and see
people
what
can
you
see.
think, okay? But I'll pass it out when the meeting's over. Yeah.
Any other business? Communication from the audience? Anyone in the audience have anything they'd like to say? Grant?
How about talking about the kids? There's, you got a new one coming or anything?
You have
wanna
5
share?
minutes. Okay, since there's no communication from the audience, our next meeting will be Monday, February the 5th, 2024 at 11:30 a.m. in the commission room. And we are